just as I was about to put the video on, well, for you, Marilyn called me. Marilyn, what do you want to say?
Well, just to say, Karen, over this this sort of fake news, it's like a 9/11, it disguised as a virus. Someone sent me footage. It looked like an empty warehouse with all sort of about 100 single beds in, and they all had the same colour blanket, and it was a thin blanket. People were lying in the beds, and they had the oxygen for what they call inhaler or whatever they're using. I don't even know the word.
Equipment, just equipment they're using, yeah.
Just equipment, like gas cylinders, small, but no water, no liquids or nothing. If people are suffering with a temperature, fever, there was no tissues, nothing in this warehouse. So that to me looked like it was a staged film. Plus,
yeah, people don't realise this is what
plus, Karen, listen. Plus, CBS took a footage of an so-called Italian hospital, and put it out just the other day as a hospital in New York, and that's flying around the internet. I forgot to send you that one.
Because I don't think people realise this is what was happening, and I realised, I know we're diverging now just before we go into this video, and what I said at the beginning, what we're talking about now, and the actual video is good stuff. But on the Watts case, it was Amy, it was her daughter who said it. Her hair was the wrong style for today. This person died last year. A lot of people know the Watts case, but she was the wrong style because they didn't pick a video from today. They picked a video from a while ago, and we're so stupid that we didn't realise. So they've been putting these things together. All those Crime Watch Daily programmes. I don't want to say the word too much, but everybody knows what I mean. They're ramming them out, telling us what's happening, but it isn't. Making us believe that we're dangerous people and we can't live together. We don't love each other, and all we want to just kill each other. It's not happening. We're actually a really peaceful people. Come on, there's millions of us.
Exactly, it's divide and conquer. They want to.
This is all a script. How could they do it to us?
Well, it's like what someone said. It's evil, but the light is going to show through this year. They've got a nasty shock ahead of them in the next few weeks, months.
Well, let's really hope so, but I don't know if we don't need to talk about that. August, Marilyn. Anyway, thank you so much for that information. It's a bit weird. I feel a bit happier now I realise what it's all about, really, in my mind. It's been mulling around, and, like you get so much information. But anyway, don't want to make this bit too long because I actually want people to watch the video. Marilyn, thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen, for allowing me to talk. I'm glad the penny's dropped. The penny dropped with me just a few days ago, actually. And I think a lot of other people, the penny's dropping with it.
There's nobody at the hospitals, but we should have been at the hospitals wanting the jab.
Well, look at me when I went to the hospital 3 weeks on the Friday, 11:30, the top London hospital, to get a blood test, where you have to press a button to get a raffle ticket and queue up for at least an hour, 45 minutes. I walked in. Within 5 minutes, I had my blood test taken. I went downstairs to the chest x-ray, waited about half an hour there, and got my results from my GP at 6:30 that evening. I've never, ever, ever had results within hours.
Do you know what it just shows, though, that the UK is a hypochondriac as a whole? Because nobody's gone to the hospital, someone did say they had to have stitches yesterday. I'm sure things like that are happening, but you're just going straight through. So where's all the other hypochondriacs? They can survive now at home, can they? Maybe this is an exercise. They'll say, right, we don't need the national health anymore.
Well, I should imagine that is part. They won't close them all down, obviously. But having said that,
yeah, if we don't go to the hospitals wanting the injection,
they're
going to close the hospitals down because going to the hospitals. What a sick joke. What a sick joke.
No, it proves that GPs can now do appointments by telephone. You don't have to go to the practice. That way they get rid of all the GP practices. That's more property available across the UK. Plus the
Mind
hospital.
you, do you know what? If you're feeling really ill, why the hell would you want to go and walk to the doctors? I know we can't pass viruses, but, you know, it's probably better if the doctor rings you and then... Because that's what 111 is about. They were brilliant when I had my gallstone thing. Sorry, everybody. I think, actually, Marilyn, I'm going to do this as a separate little thing, this one. I'm doing it separate. But I'll put it on after this film. After we'll have watched this, and then this bit will come out with you and me, because we're now on 5 minutes. The doctor told me to take penicillin, and there was some very light painkillers, but I couldn't stop itching, as well as being in masses of pain because I had blockages, and those blockages were coming out of my body. Basically, I was dying because my bile wasn't going out the way it should do. It was going into my body, and it was poisoning me, and so the itching was the poisoning. But I was in so much pain and itching, I stopped taking the penicillin, but the pain got worse. Actually, she just gave me penicillin. I had no painkillers, so I was just taking penicillin. And I went for a blood test, but something just made me ring 111 doctors, which in the UK is out. Well, it's an out of hours number, really, but you can ring 111, and a doctor will talk to you. Yeah, and I told her what had happened, and she said, you went for a blood test? And I said, yes. And the woman could see my blood test that I'd had that morning. Now, all of us don't see it for 3-4 days, maybe a week, but the 111 doctors can see it straight away. She looked at my blood test, and I can't remember exactly the words she used, but there was, like, say she was going, da-da-da, it should be 2%. Yours is 200%. Da-da-da-da-da-da. That should be 4%. Yours is nearly 400%. You are seriously ill. You need to go to the hospital. So, in a sense, that what you just said would be much better for us, because I was seriously ill. She was telling me if I didn't... And at the hospital, they actually said to me, if you don't have this operation, it will be intensive care or death next time. And then you think you've got a choice. And I hated going there and having to say, all right, I'll have it, because I didn't want the operation. Who wants an operation? But yeah, she knew. So in a sense, do you understand? If the doctor is calling the patient, then he can maybe do things better and different. Say, oh, you came for the blood test this morning. I can see. He could tell that person quicker than waiting for that person's now got to wait a week or 2 weeks to get to see the doctor because of the queue of the other people waiting a week and 2 weeks. So that might be a better thing.
Yeah, and I think the GPs locally keep it open for the over 65s.
Well, often a lot of people seem to struggle when they take these things away. I suppose because we get used to them being the way they are, and then somebody changes everything. You know, it's like having a view out your window, and then suddenly a 6-story building appears next to it. You know, it takes a long time for you to forget that you used to be another way. But generally, what we've been talking about, I just hope that people have listened, really.
Well, Karen, what about all these young doctors and nurses, you know, that have gone through 7 years of studying in the medical field?
Well, and they're going to lose their jobs too.
There's not going to be enough jobs for them when they come out, because everything is going to be done via technology, except for those, you know, old people that can't, you know, cope with computers.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be coming out of this with a job.
I mean, it's
and I don't know. I mean, I don't actually want to. Listen, when you wake up anyway and realise what's happening to you, you know, we're not spinning and the whole thing, and the sun isn't 93 million miles away, and the lies. Who wants to go to work in it? But you have to sometimes, because now I've got loads of bills to pay.
Oh, I've just found out they're reducing people who rent.
Hey, Marilyn, you're right in the microphone. Just back off just a tiny weeny bit, because they won't hear you. They'll just hear a fuzz.
Okay.
That's it.
Just found out that renters are not going to have to pay for 3 months. So I don't quite understand that. really. Unless it's just for workers.
The thing is, I understand that we're going to have this topic called the what's the name CV thing, but I just find it really weird that even though this is what they do, they want to put people into shock because no one's thinking economy, money, how are we going to live, jobs. That's the reality that's going to happen to us. This thing will pass and we're all going to be left no jobs. Things are going to be shut off.
I've been telling everyone it's all about money. The pound notes, the euros and the dollars. The dollar will be over with time this is finished. It's all Trump has taken over the federal bank. That's deceased now. So
and you know what? They've managed to do it because of a state of emergency without, we think we've got permission, but instead of putting it to a vote kind of thing, because that's maybe where with the European Union it failed. They were hoping we were going to go, yes, we want to stay in, and I don't know because we know they're fixed anyway. So they
no, but the federal bank. Listen to
it's all fixed though, Marilyn. It's all fixed. I've just explained it actually. Everything's fixed.
6 families govern the world. It's going to mess them up, which I understand is true. I might be wrong, so it's only hearsay and factual, and the news of him closing the federal bank is not getting out in mainstream media because it's messed up the cabal or the whoever, I don't, the top players I'm talking that control Trump and Boris and everyone else. So he's gone for closing down the federal bank. And I think it's going to be
do you know what? It's a bit
world currency.
It's
no
a bit
cashless society.
It's a bit of a shame, when you get to something that's happened and you go, that's the answer. But when you actually look at it, just like the fact we're not spinning and the sun is at 93 million miles away, whatever it is, most people don't even realise that we're electrical. Anyway, we live in an electric place and everything's electric. I just hope that I'm not in a motherboard, that's all. But there's so many layers of everything. So, Marilyn, like night before last, you were a warrior, weren't you? Ping, ping, ping. The amount of things that you were watching and catching up with. It's just incredible that they've managed to do it. But it's layer upon layer of stuff. You can't just explain it to someone in 2 minutes. You can't do it.
No, because, I get people telling me I'm paranoid, I'm this and that. I said, but you can't get arrested for being awake. You can have an open mind.
Yeah, but the thing is, we know there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go and no one to tell.
The problem with that, instead of burying your head in the sand, and then the shit hits the fans, and you haven't got plan B or A or C. I can't get my head around the average Joe that can't understand it. Is it because they've been brainwashed all their lives? Yes. Is it because they've been brainwashed by the mainstream media, television?
Just to explain to someone why Marilyn's like she is. Once you see it, you cannot go back and believe it. And then you realise that it's all just a game. The whole of our life is a game to someone else. They're playing games with us. The businesses are doing it. Marilyn has more support in Trump, but I don't, because I've seen other people in him. Hillary, this whole thing with Hillary. She's just an actress. Ugh.
Yeah, but that can be people that are against Trump, Karen.
Yes, but then the best thing that Trump should have done the moment he came into power was sort the press out. It's the press, exactly. It's the police, it's the courts, it's the judges, it's the lawyers, it's the prisons. They're all working together, and they've made this most horrible communistic program for us. We're in a boot camp. Do you feel it? Marilyn, we're in a boot camp. We're now queuing for food. In years to come, say 200 years' time, they're going to go, oh my God, and they're going to look at us like we look at the Second World War people having to do it.
No, I've got a feeling, and I thought you're the other side of it. I've got a feeling that this reset, this revelation, we're not going to be like we was, thank Christ for that, because it wasn't a good life. The last 20 years, it's been upheaval. And I've got faith that it's going to be a lot better. psyche of people and families are going to come together for the good. It's been terrible the last. I would say we've got around families are breaking up, which has been terrible due to the climate.
we were talking the other day, like, in a way, and, you know, we have a vision of what we think love and manners are, and then we look at our kids, and they just don't portray, like you were saying to me last night, well, in times like this, I would have been at my mother's side, or the family would have been together, that's what you're saying. Right now, we're all on our own. The families haven't come together. We're all self-isolating. But, you know, in the Second World War, the families were all together.
Exactly. And then you can relate back to was our ancestors who fought 2 world wars brainwashed against a war for legalised gangsters, when you think about it.
Yeah, and I said that bit, taking the children. And that's what, from Napoleon to Adolf Hitler, they were taking our children. That's what the camps were. Let's quarantine them, tell them they're ill, and we'll take the children.
And also, my dad, in his book, he wrote about when he was evacuated, he said a lot of the children then were mistreated by the upper echelons, like rich farmers years ago. I mean, a lot of the evacuees were okay, but those that went to the hardcore, high toffs, you know, rich farmers then, and rich people, they treated the London Cockney kids really bad, because my grandfather had to go down and collect my dad and his 2 brothers, the way they was treated, and they got loads of money for looking after the evacuees. They don't.
Do you know what you've made me think?
No one's researched on that.
Do you know what you've made me think? We are just really living. What this is right now, not only is it, you know, a virus, it's narcissism to its complete. Because a narcissist will lay out something and make it look beautiful and wonderful, and you walk in and you grab it, and then they turn on you. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So don't forget, we've just been put through this materialistic, let's have clothes, let's party, and now we're isolated.
Exactly. And then when you become over a certain age today, and there's all this organisations, it's all out on show, but when you actually reach out to them for help, Karen, it's diabolical. It's really diabolical. And
you know, when we looked at the concentration camps, it almost feels like we're in one. We're just in a great big one.
Listen, can I tell you something? They're getting paid for not even helping, just ticking the boxes. It's diabolical.
Yeah, but the thing is, the only difference me and Marilyn have is that she thinks Trump's a good man, and I think he isn't. I think he's part of all of it. So he's the one helping to do it, with Boris and the rest.
No, he's part of the stage, and there's the good ones and the bad ones, and he's been brought in to resurrect all the corruption.
I don't see it.
Yeah, it cannot go on. Otherwise, the world's going to eat itself up.
Yeah, that's what's happening now in a way. We're never going to be the same. We're going to be totally different coming out of this. It hasn't happened yet because it's only a couple of weeks old. But what about Marilyn? We were talking about it. What about in a year's time when there's not enough food or all that? No, I'm not talking about what you're talking about. I'm just saying what's going to happen in a year's time when there's, like, we've got more shortages of stuff and people haven't got jobs and we're in a really big recession. We're going to look different in a year's time than we do today. It's only just happened today, what's happening to us. You know, it's only a few weeks old. What about give it 5 years? What are we going to look like in 5 years' time? At the moment, we've got our houses and our cars. Maybe you'll be driving that car for the next 20 years now.
That's if I lived that long.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the difference is, Marilyn actually believes that Trump's a good man, and I just wish he was.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I did say August.
Yeah, I know.
If I'm wrong, I'll dance naked around Trafalgar Square.
No, Marilyn, don't do it.
Wheelchair.
Anyway, listen, Marilyn, we've been going for 20 minutes now. That's a good time to stop, isn't it, 2020?
Thank you.
Anyway, thanks so much for that. Lots of love to Marilyn and chat room.
Thanks so much.
Oh,
Karen.
just to say, the reason this picture of this guy up is we'll have just watched his, well, on the channel. This will be the video before, and I was going to stick this in because I thought me and Marilyn would have like a couple of minutes maybe, but we've gone on for 20 minutes, so that's why he's there. But anyway, thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.